Alright, we should be working this time. Welcome to the Common Flock, and, well, preseason game 1 is over between the Eagles and the Steelers. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the upcoming preseason game, what to expect, and everything in between. So, to lead off with, the first preseason game. Hurts had a good performance, 3 of 7, though 2 incompletions weren't on him. They were on the receiver. One was on him because he overthrew Quez. The other one was on him partially. I say partially because it was a throwaway. But overall, he had a good quarter, or a good drive or two. And then Joe Flacco, he did good. He did very well, but not great after the Quez pass. He did what you'd expect from a game manager like him at this point in his career. But, hey, I mean, at least it was better than a lot of people thought he would get, or thought he would do. And then Nick Mullins had a performance that has people calling for his head. But realistically, people want him cut. People have even brought up Jamie Newman, the guy who got cut before training camp. Honestly, I'd be fine with bringing back Newman. Just say, hey Mullins, you suck. You can say move him up to the second or first team all you want, but that doesn't fix bad reads and such. That doesn't fix bad quarterback play. That can only do so much. Because good receivers don't necessarily make a bad QB, or don't bring a bad QB 100% up to, or don't bring them up to their kind of standard level. Can it bring a quarterback up? Yeah, but not like that. With stuff like that, reads that's on the quarterback, they can't bring that up. They can only help him. The reads are on Mullins, and he did bad. He did really bad. And what he threw, I think it was a grand total of 2 interceptions, which in Eagles Uncensored Live last week, I said his new nickname's Two Pick Nick because he threw 2 picks and he struggled all night. But hey, I mean, I'd be fine with keeping 2 quarterbacks this year. I would. Then next year, dump Flacco, bring in 2 to 3 quarterbacks. I'd be fine with that. Even bring in 2 quarterbacks, draft one, and then whoever the 2 or the 3 you like the best are your 2 backups. I'm fine with that. Looking at the running back spot, everybody got a little bit of snaps, really. Well, Miles didn't play because obviously they're resting him. Howard got some runs. Huntley even got some runs, which I'm hearing a lot of good things about his pass blocking that's gotten way better, and I kind of question why do we need Kerryon Johnson. But, I mean, whatever, because we've got not necessarily a player like him, but we've got players that can do what he can do, just not all of it together. But, yeah, he got carries. Killings did not. He got moved to receiver. He didn't even get kick return snaps, which was stupid. But we'll talk about that in a little bit because I don't want to talk about that right now. Sorry, long day. Yep, Mullins did throw 2 picks. Yeah, Huntley got some carries, Gainwell got some carries, Johnson got some carries, even Boston Scott got a carry, and Jordan Howard got a carry. Nobody got over 3 carries. Huntley got 4. Nobody else besides him got over 2 carries, but he had 15 yards on 4 carries. In terms of receiving, Quez had a catch for a TD, 79 yards. Goddard had had a couple targets. Tyree Jackson had a good night with 2 catches for 32 on a couple targets. Rieger got some catches off some targets. Ertz, Rich Rod, Gainwell out of the backfield, Patton and Huntley. That tells me they don't necessarily. Patton's more of a third guy. J-Jaw did play, didn't get any catches. I think he got 1 target, if that. Absent countless led in tackles in 1 and 2. Who would have thought? And then third was Rashad Smith. Who would have thought? But 2 of his were assists. Absent countless, all of them were solos for them. Who would have thought? Elijah Riley had a pick on the night. Singleton had 7 assisted tackles. Actually, no, I think Rashad Smith had. I don't know if that's 5 and 2 or 5 and 2 of them are assists. I don't know. I don't think it is, but I'm not sure. But T.J. Edwards, Pat Johnson, they both had decent nights. 4 tackles, 1 assist. 4 tackles, 2 assists. Sean Bradley had 3 tackles, 4 assists. So, not bad nights from those guys. Jake Elliott was 3 of 3 from field goal range. 47, 47, or 47 to 48, and then 50. He nailed all 3 of them, which I'm saying right now, that what we heard about a confidence crisis from Jake Elliott had to have been true. So I like what I'm seeing from Jake, I really do. And honestly, I think he's back. He's back from a disappointing 2020 season. He's back. Sipos, the new Australian punter, did very well. 4 punts for 223 yards, 55.8 per punt. And I think one of them was over 60. I think it was almost 65 yards. I said, you know what? He may actually be better than Cam Iron Leg Johnston. I'll take it. But he had a good night. None of them were in the 20, but that's because I think all our punts were behind our own 50. At least. Yeah, they had to be because they had Jake kicking 45-plus yard field goals. Rigger had 1 punt return for 7 yards. Huntley had 3 kick returns for 79 yards, and Quez had 1 kick return for 22. So they're all sharing returning duties there. A little bit of both Huntley and Watkins from kicks, and Rigger from punts, which tells me they're thinking Huntley could be a special teams piece, which if we are to keep 5 running backs, then honestly, right now, if I had to say that, my 5 would be Sanders, Gainwell, Huntley, Holyfield, and a toss-up between Scott and Carrion. Although I'd want Scott, you never know. With Huntley being a special teams back, I'd be fine with that. But ultimately, it was not a bad night from everybody. I'm very glad. Very glad. And honestly, the first and the second team showed very good things. The third team, bye. You made cuts very easy for us. Anyways, why not? We did take the loss, but hey, it's preseason, I will say. Downs on the night, and Pitt was 11 of 17. None attempted it on 4th down. Because we're not Doug Peterson, we don't go for it every 4th down. It would be like 40, or it would be on like the 25. Jake Elliott would come trotting out being like, yeah, let's kick the field goal, and Doug would probably say, no, we're inside our own 50, let's go for it. Okay. Pittsburgh threw 1 pick to Elijah Riley. We threw 2. Both teams punted 4 times. Philly had 7 penalties for 60 yards compared to the Steelers' 5 for 36. There was 2 sacks allowed by Philly and 1 from Pittsburgh, which kind of surprised me. But Philly ran half as many plays as Pittsburgh, so it kind of explains the third down efficiency and the first down numbers, because Philly only had 10, Pittsburgh had 28, and the time of possession. Pittsburgh had the ball for over 40 minutes, and Philly had it for just under 20 with 18 minutes, 42 seconds. And they had it over just 41 minutes. But anyways, looking to Eagles' next preseason game. You're probably gonna see more of the starter. You're probably gonna see the starters for most of all the first quarter or most of the first quarter, and throughout the half, with guys coming off in different spots. Probably like some of your older guys will probably come off before the rest of the first team squad does. I'd say, although you may see them tonight or this week, because we have the Patriots next week. I'll actually be able to watch that one. I'm pretty sure. Jets. That a week and a day later on a Friday, it's 7:30 p.m. Both games are at 7:30. Yay! And that's Eastern time, which sucks. But for the Patriots game, I should hopefully be recovered enough by then from a COVID shot to be able to make a video. If I'm not, I'll just say I'm not there to make one. I don't even know if I can really be 100% for the fantasy football podcast I have tomorrow night with aka Eagles or Eagles Uncensored over on his channel. Tuesday night, yeah. Go check that out, by the way. I didn't even mean to plug that. I'm just thinking I baseline my videos, but that's a very shallow baseline, and I kind of have a tendency to branch off unintentionally, because that's just where my mind takes me, and that's where I take myself, and that's where that one went. So I promise you that wasn't scripted at all. But I will definitely keep updating on Twitter, so go check me out there too, because that's where I do most of my channel updates from. Like if I'm pushing a podcast back a day, because I only ever push it back to a Monday, if not the next week. Or if something happens with a video, or maybe I'll talk about future plans for the channel. So, and when I'm under the weather, I'm probably going to want to work a little bit more, or a little bit less on the talking and a little bit more on other things that I'm going to put up for the channel. But you'll see those then. And I'm gonna hint at it. It's not really Philly related, so I know if you're not a Notre Dame fan, you won't get this. But it has something to do with the last name or with the name of Ogundeji. If somebody knows who that is in the comments without looking it up and can kind of tell me, let me know. No, I don't know if anyone's gonna know who that is, honestly. But yeah, he was this year's class, right? I don't even remember, honestly. I should be, because I think I looked it up, but looking at that Eagles-Patriots game, it's cuts will be made by then, some cuts. So you're going to see a little bit more of the general roster makeup of what will make up your 53-man. So you'll know a little bit more of what's to come. As of right now, I can't tell you that. It's not really that many cuts have been made. But I will say you're going to see a lot more of the first and second team, or a little bit more of the first and second team and a little bit less of the third team. Thankfully. But anyways, that's kind of what to expect for that. You'll probably see more of guys who are getting their last chance, maybe. Or I think we're going to see more of a J-Jaw. I think we're going to see more of Huntley. We're going to see more of Fulgham, Ward, guys like that. Craig James. Maybe even Elijah Riley, guys like that. But that is the preseason game next week. Alright, so let's get into other topics. I got a DM. Alright, I never saw that. But anyways, it's like the one time. It's sad that I get no DMs, because then I'm like, ooh, somebody messaged me on Twitter. But I want to make sure that no moves have been made today, because I've been kind of out of the loop in terms of news. Nothing has, officially, but I just had to make sure. But yesterday, some cuts were made. LaRaven Clark, the tackle, was activated from the physically unable to perform list, and Adrian Killings, the running back turned receiver, and Caleb Wilson were waived. Sadly, sucks to see It really sucks to see Adrian go. That was Philly Notion's guy. Let's hope somebody checked on Notion by now and made sure he was okay. I bet he's not, but we can only hope. But that's the only movie that's been made as far as I know as of right now. And still waiting for another move or two to happen. But so Panthers-Colts game, which was on earlier today, the whole defensive line got steamrolled, and there wasn't too much enthusiasm about the whole defensive line. Go look the clip up. They got steamrolled, dude. They literally got blocked a good 5-10 yards back. Like, dude, if that was me out there, I'm like all over that. I would be happy. But anyways, I have a lot of stuff saved for Eagles news. There was even some from last week that I never got to. That if this is late news, my bad. But I'm gonna get into last week. Let's see. I want to see what I got. If it's too late, I'm just gonna not talk about it. Rieger did say last week he was happy that Sirianni held him accountable for not passing the conditioning test. Now he is ready to focus on the future. And then, no, I think I did cover this. Yeah, I did. But I'm just going to keep the last two I have on here just because they were funny. So, this week. That cuts down my news total a little, thankfully. We're farther into this than I thought we'd be. This is what happens when you get a lot of news and you get kind of hyped up and excited. Because then you got a lot to talk about. And then the podcast flows a lot better. A lot better. Like, dude, the flow, the transitions, everything's a lot better. Also, there was a scuffle at the open practice, and it got broken up by security. But there was a scuffle at that open practice. I laughed. I said, that's Philly. There was a fight between a Chargers fan and a couple of Rams fans earlier this week. I laughed at that too. That was funny. Go find that. Go look up that video because I can't show it. And not only that, this is a non-visual podcast because I don't put up early video. But Quez Watkins did have a good practice though, and at one point he had a jump ball TD over Anthony Harris. he's been great this offseason. During these practices, great. Cyphus, yeah, I think that's how you say it now. I say it multiple different ways, so if I butcher it, I'm sorry. And if I say it multiple different ways, my bad. Cyphus was doing directional short punting at the open practice, and he punted from around midfield, and he was doing directional short punting. And he landed punts, all fair catches, at the 12, the 12, the 10, the 12, the 11, the 6, the 10, and the 7. That's actually very good. I'm glad we have a good punter again. And we haven't skipped a beat on the good punters. Tyree Jackson at one point caught a touchdown pass at the open practice and dunked over the goalpost, and it was shaking for a while. That's what I like to see. He could be a good tight end. He's a sleeper to draft in leagues. He is a big sleeper. That's somebody I will pound the table home about. I will die on that hill. He will be a good sleeper. He could be the next Logan Thomas, and I drafted Logan Thomas not knowing last year, and he did good. So I'm getting him. I'm getting Harris from Saints. I'm getting some of my old sleepers back from last year. Sorry, this isn't a fantasy football podcast. Again, I drift. I drift from topic to topic, not even thinking or following my baseline. Singleton, when he had COVID, said he had to run the 11-yard hallway in his apartment during quarantine. Wow. I could not do that. Alright, that one was dumb. I don't know why I saved that tweet. Sometimes I've saved tweets and then later I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't have saved that. I have no reason to save that. I don't even get why. But Sirianni earlier this week said they were talking through plans for the first preseason game and said that he expected everybody to play for the most part, and they did. And then he confirmed that Hurts was starting at quarterback, and he's going to continue to be the starting quarterback, thankfully. And then Sirianni is calling plays, and Steichen is communicating with the quarterback during the plays, so there's thankfully some connection there. I actually like how they did that. That's good to know. Darius Slay also noted that Quez Watkins was a very good standout receiver in camp. And Ertz led them out onto the field during the open practice, and then everybody went crazy. Like, I'm not even kidding. Everybody did kind of go crazy. And Washington claimed Caleb Wilson just now off of waivers. That's good. I'm glad. Alright, I gotta check. I think I missed something. I missed a little bit of news because I lost my notifications last night. I was like, oh, I missed my Twitter notifications. Alright. Oh. Jason Peters went to the Bears. Jason Peters went to the Bears. I'm happy. But it came out yesterday, so the injury report was Dillard's week to week with his knee. Hightower was week to week with his groin. Stevens was week to week with his hamstring. Dave Van Taylor week to week with calf still. Day to day. Huntley ribs, he did end up playing. Craig James foot, I don't think he played. Ryan Kerrigan thumb, he didn't play. Devontae Smith knee didn't play, and Kayvon Wallace groin did not play. Limited was Arnold hamstring. I don't really think he played. Gennard Avery groin. I don't think he really played. Clark ramping up. I don't think he played. I know he didn't play. Kroom knee did not play. Matt Leo ramp up. I don't think he played. Walker foot did not play, and Samuel hamstring did not play. So there was a lot of guys on that did not play. Carrion didn't even play, and Casey Tucker didn't even play. So there was a good amount of guys injured. Also, I can't believe Smith's kind of ahead of the curve, but now JP is playing for the Bears, by the way. I'm laughing at that for some reason. And then I'll end on this. Guess who was spotted at Colts camp talking with Frank Reich and Carson Wentz? Doug Peterson, our old friend Doug. Didn't look like they were portrayed out to be, like, not happy with each other after what happened in Philly. So, honestly, that leads me to believe they were hits by a mix of Lurie and Roseman because they wanted either Doug and or Wentz out, and it worked, but it worked a little too well, and now they're exposed. But we'll never truly know who set out those rumors, and if we do, it's going to be years down the line when Wentz is out of the league, Doug has stopped coaching or is almost done or hasn't really coached too much. Well, isn't really coaching. When Howie is not a GM, and maybe even when Lurie isn't an owner of a team. That's the only time it will ever really be known what happened here. But it's not like it was portrayed to be, and honestly, I think there's a connection to Howie and maybe even to Lurie about what happened. But this has been the Common Flock. You know who I am. Thank you for watching, if you got through this far. And I will see you next week. There will be news. I will talk about it, but I will see you next